Hey, what's up, good people? Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. I hope everybody's having a great day. It's Thirsty Thursday. The weekend is getting closer and closer. And, this morning I got up and I'm downstairs working on getting my news and stuff together for the Cowboys, and I see that the Cowboys traded or swapped picks 5th for 7th for Joe Milton, and he is now going to be a Dallas Cowboy. And I wasn't sure how I felt about it. Now, what was interesting for me was, as I was going through and finding out some more information and stuff about Joe Milton and the trade and things, my buddy Law Nation was on live. And so he was doing a call-in. So I decided I'm going to go ahead and call in for a few minutes and give him my 2 cents and stuff and say hello. And ended up being on there for about an hour and a half, co-hosting the show with him. And it was actually good because we had multiple people that were calling in and they were giving their perspective on the Cowboys and stuff. Now, we had seen Todd Archer had said that the Cowboys had been interested in Jacoby Brissett and Drew Lock. Ultimately, Jacoby signed with Arizona, maybe, and basically the cost of those guys was looking to be a little bit more than probably what the Cowboys wanted to play. You could say Jacoby Brissett is kind of like the poor man's Dak Prescott. They came out of the same draft, although he was drafted higher than Dak. And Drew Lock, he's a journeyman quarterback, to say the least, right now. And that's basically all you can do with him, is say the least. And I don't think that either of those guys are going to move the needle. Of course, the thought would be is the Cowboys would draft somebody in the draft, which could have been conceivable. But basically, you might as well say what it equates to is about a 6th-round pick is what it looks like. And that's about what they would have spent probably getting a journeyman quarterback type. Joe Milton, 6'5", 247 pounds, and literally has a cannon for an arm. We've all seen him throw the 82-yard pass down the field. Has potential like anybody, but let's be real here. I don't expect him to become a great quarterback. That's not to say that he can't. We've seen Tony Romo, who was undrafted, become one of the best quarterbacks in history of the Cowboys. We've seen Dak Prescott as a 4th-round draft pick become a really good quarterback, at least in some people's eyes. A lot of y'all will say he's the worst thing in the world. I would say this is actually a good move that the Cowboys made. Now, listening on Law, and shout out to Law, I appreciate him allowing me to be on there. So many people gave me condolences and about losing my dad, and I'm actually on my way over to my mother's house. I'm going to fix a few things for her and spend some time with her and pick up some of the scrapbooks, because I'm going to do a video for my dad for his memorial service, his funeral. Listening to some of the fans out there that ones that just say Dak just sucks, we need to move on, and we can't win with them. And I would question, this was actually fun for me, because I would say, okay, who is going to win your Super Bowl with the team as it's currently constructed? And the funny thing is people couldn't come up with them. Because I look at this and they'll say, well, Dak's had all these great weapons and stuff, and I'll kind of challenge him and say, collectively, you could go through and say, yeah, he had Des Bryant, Amari Cooper, and CeeDee Lamb in there, but that's the course of 9 years. And the only overlap he had of those was really 1 year of Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb. They'll say, well, he had Zeke Elliott. Well, let's be real here. Zeke Elliott, after he got his contract, was really not one of the top echelon running backs anymore. They say, well, he's had a great offensive line. I hate to tell you, the peak of the offensive line was really 2016. After that point, Tyron Smith started breaking down on a regular. You then lost Travis Frederick, And it's been a hodgepodge. You can't look at in the 220s. In the 220s, it has been such a pooch screw the last 4 years of players that have gone through on our offensive line. From Jason Peters to Joe Looney, Biotis. It has not been consistent on our offensive line forever. In fact, I need to go through and say, here's the starting offensive lines that we've had, the last 5 years, or 4 years, I should say. We haven't started this year yet. And then somebody else said, this is the most disappointing off season because the Cowboys have had money and they ain't spent it and stuff. And so I said, okay. Let me ask you, what free agent move are you most disappointed that the Cowboys didn't do this offseason? And his thing was, Cooper Kupp. We should have done Cooper Kupp. And I was like, well, problem with Cooper Kupp is the best year he's had in the last 3 years has been 12 games and 812 yards. So 2 of the last 3 years, he's only averaged 10 yards of reception. And he got a 3-year deal worth $45 million. Do you think that money would have been wisely spent getting Cooper Kupp when you look at those numbers and say that move right there would end up being a Super Bowl win? Because quite frankly, what Cooper Kupp has been doing the last 3 seasons is what Brandon Cooks did for us 2 years ago. So do you look at it and say Brandon Cooks 2 years ago would be us getting to the Super Bowl and worth $15 million? No, not really. No, can't see that it is. So my counter to all this is the Cowboys are trying to build a team and they're trying to fill in all the holes. What they've done now is they've taken the need for getting a backup quarterback, scratch that off the list. And they're going through and they're trying to figure out where are the best places that we can make some hay in the draft. Thank you. And key positions. For me, I say this. I say that the Cowboys, over the course of the last couple of years, the offensive line has not been really good. It is not. I don't know how anybody can honestly say that the offensive line is great. And one other thing, too, I was pointing out in that conversation is they were talking about how much great talent the Cowboys had and Dak wasted it. And my counter to that is, did we have a lot of talent or were they elevated because of Dak Prescott? Because here's where I can go ahead and give you one of these. I can look and say the most yards per completion in Dez Bryant's career, not with Tony Romo, but Dak Prescott. And I can say that a guy like Randall Cobb, who went downhill for 3 years as far as his production, where Green Bay basically said, because he was only like 400 some yards, said, we're done with this guy. We're going to cut him. He comes to Dallas and gets 5 TDs and 800 some odd yards. Kind of the production that you got out of Cooper Kupp the last couple of years. And on a 1-year deal, he goes to the Texans with Deshaun Watson throwing to him, and his numbers go back to the 400. He goes back to Aaron Rodgers, still 400. So how do you explain him being consistently a 400-yard guy, 800 yards with the Cowboys, and then going down? And when you start thinking about guys, because this is the funniest thing to me, is that somebody was actually there talking about, we had Noah Brown. Do you honestly look and say Noah Brown is one of the top wide receivers in the NFL? Because I can remember one of those games that we lost, that Noah Brown, Dak Prescott blind threw the ball right in his hands and he tipped it up for a pick 6 and we lost the game. Do you look and say that Noah Brown is doing great things around the NFL? I don't. Or Cedric Wilson? That this is the same as A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith? I don't. Are we saying that this is the offensive line like the Eagles and that Dak Prescott is doing those things? Because last I checked, Jalen Hurts throws 21 passes a game. 18 TDs. 18 TDs. You know, Dak's got 2 seasons where he had to throw double that. Double that. 36 and 37. But Dak's just trash. He's just trash. And Dak ain't got a 2,000-yard running back. Dak ain't got a team that's running 2,000 yards, much less one guy. So, will Dak Prescott win a Super Bowl with Dallas? I don't think he will if we continue to do things the way we do. If they surround him with players, because I'm sitting here looking around, you know, I'm sure Minnesota is thinking we'd like a better quarterback. I'm sure the Patriots are looking and saying we'd like a better quarterback. I'm sure right now Pittsburgh is saying they'd like a better quarterback. Finding quarterbacks, it ain't easy, bro. It ain't easy. So it was fun getting into it on Law Nation, and I appreciate that. In fact, I think we need to do that some more. Maybe make a Bash Mark Holmes, you know, where it is, where the fans come in with their grievances, and I go ahead and I debate on whether they're legitimate or not. That might be fun. Alrighty, good people. I've got to pick up some stuff from the depot and take care of some family business. I appreciate y'all. Peace.